Hello, dear friends. Chinese proverb: sit patiently by the river, and you will see your enemy's corpse float by. Bad deeds have unavoidable consequences, without the need for personal revenge. Opinion piece: cracks of light, opening, system failure, radical change. We are not alone. Giants awakening. Destructions increase. Regional distribution of the planet. Let's start. Something has just opened. We are not alone when the old structure cracks and light begins to filter through the cracks. For a long time, humankind has lived within a narrow perceptual system that has taught us to believe only in what we can sense, measure, and explain. Small bandwidth of reality, but something has failed within that system. Kerry Kay describes a profound change in humankind, where the false matrix is breaking down, allowing divine light to enter through cracks in the veil. This collapse is not chaos, but an opening to the divine matrix, where the ancestors and the Supreme Soul return to reclaim the earth as an ancient fifth-dimensional paradise. As the old structure cracks and the light begins to filter through, many people feel pressure, confusion, pain, or unexpected relief, because it feels as if the old self is dissolving, according to Kerry Kay. This is not a rapture, but an opening. It is not about escaping the earth or leaving this realm behind. It's about radical change. The false matrix is breaking down, allowing divine light to enter through cracks in the perceptual veil that has confined humanity to a narrow, controlled reality. This opening generates feelings of pressure, confusion, or relief as the old self dissolves. But the light doesn't harm, it heals, and the pain arises from attachment to the old story. It's not about running away, but about inviting and allowing. The earth was a fifth-dimensional paradise, inhabited by beings of light, and human beings are their lineage. Now the ancestors and the cosmic family return through us, reclaiming the kingdom. The Supreme Soul or Monad awaits our unblocking of the path trapped in the false matrix, but the conditioned mind resists for fear of losing its separate identity. The architects of control intensify distractions to counteract this light. Geopolitics. The old world order will end in 2026, and the new Earth will emerge with the visible implementation of the QFS as the new planetary financial and power system, according to the Storm Rider. Rafa Pal explains that Trump would sign several executive orders in 2026 aimed at dismantling NATO, the UN, and the network of NGOs and intelligence agencies linked to globalism, as well as fracturing the EU, since Europe and NATO are considered unreliable partners. He also details a division of the world into large spheres of influence, which will actually be QFS nodes and not classic territorial annexations. Asia would fall under the combined leadership of China, India, and Saudi Arabia, extending to Australia and including countries like Malaysia and Turkey. Russia would assume control of large areas of Northern and Western Europe, theoretically reaching as far as Norway and the UK, but at the level of monetary and energy control, not of flags or language. The US would lead the American bloc, including Mexico and South America, understood as a monetary pole, not as a legal absorption of the countries. A collapse of China would be, with popular uprisings in 2026 and a subsequent reunification around 2027, is also predicted, interpreted as the end of classical communism. This process, financed by Saudi Arabia along with India and China, would serve to reconfigure Asia within the new QFS system. Rafapal interprets the entire described distribution as referring to the QFS nodes connected by a highly advanced telecommunications infrastructure. He claims that this plan was not designed by ordinary human leaders, but by a superior intelligence that uses the BRICS and the US as opposing sides in a battle that is actually a staged event intended to converge into a single system. Giants in plural. At the Giants' awakening, Rafapal presents a report from the White Hats that describes the existence of giants imprisoned since ancient times, their ritual linked to the blood elite and the current process of these entities awakening as pacts are broken and the sacrificial energy that kept them contained is depleted. US Marines reportedly found a pre-Adamic Cadian spirit named Azazel beneath the Euphrates River, trapped in a containment structure, built in antiquity and reinforced by Saddam Hussein. A technical ritual cooling system is described. The report describes the use of sigils and Enochian seals to prevent their regeneration, as well as protocols for concealing and erasing the memories of witnesses. This report details multiple secret facilities where live or mummified giants are allegedly stored beneath Denver Airport, Colorado, in refrigerated caves in Pisa, in storage facilities linked to the Smithsonian Museum, and in underground bases such as Dulce, Pine Gap, Svalbard, Area 51, Thule in Greenland, and Los Alamos, among others. It also mentions operations involving sealing caverns with concrete or converting the areas into solar farms to conceal the locations. The document claims that 119 giants are still alive, some of whom are already awake and negotiating terms, while the rest remain in forced hibernation. This containment is said to be based on complex rituals. According to the text, the current drying up of the Euphrates River and setting electromagnetic indicators are signs of the awakening process, while several chambers have already been opened beneath places like the Grand Canyon and Mount Shasta. Simultaneously, a plan called Black Trumpet Operation is described, which would use facilities to emit a Schumann reversal wave that would activate the giants. The narrative claims that the disruption of the rituals since 2003 has reduced the containment field, reactivating the giant's brain activity after centuries. It posits that there are several free specimens concentrated in strategic areas, while the Space Force is operating in secret under the pretext of tensions with Russia and China in a final battle between fallen angles, bloodlines of power, and white forces that are disrupting the ritual. Reset News. The White Hats are in control, according to the X-22 report. Miners discover a massive supply of rare earth minerals in Utah. The Spanish government gripped by corruption and sexual harassment scandals. Kings and presidents are actors paid by an occupying adversary, according to Bennett Ross. The U.S. Quantum Initiative Act is paving the way for the quantum financial system to transform the global economy. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent confirms $100 billion in tax refunds for Americans in 2026, between $1,000 and $2,000 per household. 9 of the largest banks are engaging in political debunking in response to Trump's executive order 14,331 to ensure fair banking. The order stated that the banks had restricted their services to law-abiding citizens and businesses based on political and religious beliefs. Underground facilities on the dark side are experiencing unexplained power fluctuations They aren't attacks, just silent blackouts. Systems are shutting down one by one, as if someone were flipping switches from within. The press has been ordered not to report on the farmers' protests that have paralysed London, according to Benjamin Fulford. The British government has arrested more than 12,000 people for online comments, abandoning the concept of free speech. Meanwhile, the European Commission has blocked Russian money and is threatening to dump treasury bonds if the US reaches an agreement with Russia on Ukraine. That would be mutually assured destruction, because they face bankruptcy. The US is trying to reach an agreement with Russia and China to defeat the EU. According to Hush Reality, the world's largest homecoming is about to happen. There are over 900 people waiting to return with us after the storm. Some have been gone for over 6 decades, eager to surprise us all. Diana's return will be epic. According to Aurora Ray, humanity is in the midst of a shift in consciousness. The years 2026 and 2027 are very significant, as they mark a window of awakening where more Pleiadian souls will remember themselves than in the previous 5 decades. Memory is returning, gifts are being activated, timelines are accelerating. Multiverse of chaos, according to Ariel. We are moving toward a future where we can experience different forms of existence. Scientists are already working on a multidimensional mirror where you can see alternative versions of yourself based on decisions you have made or not made, and the outcome of those actions. According to Jade, the turning point has already begun, but because this energy isn't released quickly enough, it feels stagnant. Ordinary people are very aware of the changes around us and are finding it difficult to adapt. They don't know where to go, and out of fear and ignorance, they behave strangely. This can happen when you see them on the street. They may be more aggressive, less cheerful, or simply more neutral. The distribution of frozen Russian funds triggers a conflict between the EU and the US. I think this is a repetition. The coalition's plan to reclaim Europe involves gritting it through the QFS and artificial intelligence to track corruption, along with a new financial system designed to expose and purge the corrupt elite, according to Rafapal. He describes a program funded by prosperity funds to pay immigrants living in Europe to return to their countries of origin. This includes money to start businesses and access to land in their home countries, generating a mass return that would allow for the recovery of European culture and address ethnic replacement. Rafapal describes the Genesis mission as a cover for the QFS, free energy and medical beds. Genesis is a global banking infrastructure using cryptocurrencies, and the QFS controlled by uniformed personnel. Social media networks and large corporations are involved with integration from other countries planned for 2026 and a massive rollout in 2027. It enables cell regeneration, wormholes, invisibility, teleportation, and atmospheric manipulation originating from Cheyenne Mountain, with public access planned for 2027 and 28 as part of a global release plan. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.